Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. In the past video we tried to build a portable circular saw with a high precision. So in this one we'll try to build something using it and see how well it stands up. I have few boxes with a lot of components and small parts that were laying around the place, and this is mainly the parts for the upcoming project. So I wanted to organize them and make it a little bit more manageable, and therefore I've decided to build a small rack for tiny electronic parts. So that's what we're gonna do in this video, and then at the end I'll give a little bit of the feedback on how well my circular saw stand up to the project. So I still had a couple of sheets of hardboard left over that I've sliced into long strips with a width of 10 centimeters. They're gonna be used as a bottom part of our boxes. I also wanted the boxes to be different height, so I've done the same for the side walls. So on all of these offcuts, I wasn't really sure how accurate is the side edge. So I've decided to mark one of the sides and push it through the 90-degree angle on the table saw to level it to the perfect 90 degrees. So I quickly glued this 90-degree rig, which will let me push the part under a perfect perpendicular angle. And after that, there was a lot of cutting because I needed to level up every single part. As now all of the edges are definitely 90 degrees, I could put my guide on 10 centimeter to the left of the blade and slice in mass production all the bases and all the side walls for every single box. Initially I was considering to 3D print the whole rack, but on the estimates from Orca Slicer that would take me roughly about a couple of weeks to complete it, versus doing it from MDF. It was just one evening of work to get all the parts done and then a couple of days to wait until it all cures and glues together. Plus all of the components were free, so I wasn't wasting any money, and therefore I thought, well, why not give it a go? So I ended up with this huge amount of parts. The finish was actually really good, and whenever you stack couples of them together, they looked uniformed and identical. So then I've separated all the parts into the groups. That should help me not mess it up and pick the wrong wall and glue something incorrectly. I also quickly built this rack that would help me push the wall against it, and then I'm sure it definitely hits 90 degrees, so there won't be any problems with misalignment. For gluing, I used a combination of PVA glue and super glue. So PVA is the main bonding agent and it should hold this box really well. And super glue, it usually helps with alignment. So I just drop a couple of drops and it bonds the part together and keeps it in place while the main glue dries. So from here it was just patience, and I had to repeat the same task 25 times because there's 25 boxes in total in my rack. So from here it took quite substantial time, a couple of days I was gluing them together because I was taking my time, let the parts settle, and then moving to the next one because I wanted to make sure that the accuracy is high, nothing drifts apart, and it's perfect decent bond. And after all of the assembly was complete, the last thing that was left over is to make handles for these boxes, so it will be a bit easier to pull them out of the rack. And I've decided to 3D print them using PETG. As all of my boxes have same dimensions, so it's 10 by 10 centimeters, I just needed to pick one, decide where the handle will go. Then I would have to glue it in place manually, and after that I could build a rack that would help me with the alignment and speed up the process on gluing all of the other components. This was actually quite good solution because the accuracy was flawless, so all of them looked very uniformed. And after initially bonding the handle to the box, I could glue it properly by filling all the gaps with the super glue that should provide a very strong connection. As a next step, I needed to build the rack, and here I messed up quite massively. As I was planning to paint the boxes, I knew that I need to account for a little bit additional thickness, so I've decided that 2 millimeters extra should be enough, and I started to build the rack using the ruler, so basically measuring the dimensions, marking where the parts should be glued into, And I thought that it will be very accurate as long as I'll keep everything aligned and within 90 degrees angles and so on. But it turned out to be a very big mistake, because whenever you glue something, obviously you can't reach absolutely perfect match to the line. Then also whenever you're marking something, there can be some deviations from the pencil and so on. So the gaps were inadequate, and though some of the boxes fitted nicely, some of them had very tight fit. I didn't like the whole outcome of the project, and I've decided to scrap the whole rack and rebuild it again. I took boxes outside to spray paint them. That is to stabilize the wood a little bit and make it a bit more moisture resistant, plus it would look a bit nicer. As well, that will help me to establish how much thickness the paint adds for the next rack build. So from here, I wanted to use the technology that really worked in the past and seemed to be quite accurate. As I already had all the boxes painted, I thought to slice a piece of 1mm MDF to use it as a spacer. So then I would level and create the first corner of the rack with a perfect 90-degree angle, then just simply push fit the box against this angle, put the spacer underneath and from the side, and use that as my guide. So therefore I can glue vertical panel, wait until it cures, and then move to the next one. So all the panels would be glued only from the bottom part, and the top part of it would be allowed to wiggle. So as I build up the levels of my rack, I can slightly move them around and adjust for imperfections. Also, because I used 1mm spacer from underneath the box, I could simply flip it upside down, cut the next level part to size, test fit it, and then glue it by pressing it against this box. So though this approach took forever, because I needed to do one panel at the time, it was really accurate, because imperfections are pretty much minimized to zero. So going with the same concept, I just needed to spend, again, 3 times more time than I initially thought it would take. It was worth it, because after giving it a final coat of paint, it started to look quite nice. Boxes were sliding quite easily and free, and in general, the whole accuracy of the project, it was good. So from here, I just needed to go through my pile of parts, separate them, label each box individually, and allocate all the components. For marking the boxes, I've decided to go with just simple labels where I'm gonna scribble with a marker the name, because over time components and parts that are in the box will be changing, so I can't just print them and keep them static. They'll be always adjusting, and it will be really straightforward just to slice a new label, put a new writing on it, and stick it over the existing one. So I'm not striving here for absolute perfection. It's more of building something that it's useful and practical. And in terms of the parts, as you can see, there's plenty of electronic components, Arduino controllers, stepper motors, linear rails, and etc. So all of this will be used in our future projects. So at the moment, I still need to make one more adjustment to my workshop, which will be the next project. I'm building a linear slider for my drill press, because there will be some aluminum parts which I want to machine with a fly cutter. So, and that requires quite high accuracy equipment as well. And after that, we'll move to robotics. So we will actually start 3D printing parts, components, and work on the robotic project. Also, guys, please leave a comment or like, because that helps to push this video so it will reach more people, and therefore channel will expand. At this point, that's kind of the biggest contribution you can make to the channel to support it. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the feedback on the circular saw is actually quite good. I'm really happy with how it turned up. I don't see any flaws in it. It worked to my expectations, and it is quite accurate as well. Also, 3D printed coupler hold up quite well. The shaft didn't heat up that much. There was no any issues with it. Though in the future, I'm possibly gonna make at some point iteration 2 or version 2 of this table saw, because I wanted to have the retractable blade. And also there will be slight adjustment on the guide, because though the saw is really high accuracy, Even tiny imperfections on the alignment of the guide cause the part to get like stuck whenever you're cutting it. So it moves with quite high pressure because it presses against the blade surface. So though it's not the major problem for now, possibly at some point I'll think about iteration 2 and how to improve it and make it even better. So thank you for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.